What is going on, guys? In this video I'm going to show you how to make this trade analyzer. Pretty much what it does is you put in whatever stock you want and it will tell you if it's going to be a sell, a strong sell, hold, buy, or strong buy. So right here, Intel, all of it is in the green right now. Intel is a strong buy. If we go here, we change it to something else. How about Apple? Apple is a sell because, as you can see, 4 out of the 5 criteria are not met, and they even change colors too. So they're red, so you know which ones aren't being met. And then the trade signal, not only does it change the word to sell, but then it also changes the color. So let's just put in another one. How about Target? And there you go, Target is a hold. You might notice this little drop down. I just put in all the stocks that I own. So I could click on whichever one. How about PayPal? PayPal is also a hold right now. So how do I make this? There's a lot that we need to get into. I'm only pulling data from Google Finance and Finviz. But there's a lot of conditional formatting here and a couple of other coding stuff that don't get too scared if you're not the best coder. I promise it's simple if you just walk through every step. We're going to dive right in, but before that, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Really helps out my algorithm. I'll keep on cranking out awesome videos like this. Let's jump right in. So I'm just going to recreate this right here. So we get a side-by-side. You get to watch it come to life. You could follow along and make your own trade analyzer. You don't need to follow my criteria. It could be whatever your criteria is, which could be 1,000 times better than mine. This is just a quick little example, okay? So the first thing, we're going to merge this, name it whatever you want. I'm just going to stick with the same title. So I'm just going to copy and paste. There we go. So that is my title. Look at that. We're already maybe 5% done. So next, we want ticker symbol. And then this one, we'll leave blank for now. Let's just fill in all of this, okay? So we got price, company name, market cap, and earnings. So none of this is really important for my criteria. I just like to see what the price is, just like everyone else likes to see. I like having the company name being pulled. Maybe I type in the wrong ticker symbol by accident and I notice, hey, wait, I didn't mean to type in PayPal. Maybe I meant to type in something else. So I think that's helpful. And I like to look at the market cap. I really don't like to trade anything that's below, I'd say $1 billion recently, anything below 5 billion. And I think earnings is always super important. You don't want to buy something the day before earnings. That's just really dumb. So I always like to look at that. But now with the criteria, again, you don't need to follow what I'm doing here. You can pick your own criteria. I'm just going to stick with what I have. So PE, current ratio. We got the RSI 14. If you don't know what RSI is, I made a video on that, so you can check that out. Debt to equity, one of my favorite criteria. And then price to book. Okay, and then right here, just name this trade signal. All right, now we get into the fun stuff. This was pretty basic, pretty easy. Make this whatever color you want. We'll mess around with the colors later. We don't have to worry about ticker symbol because you're just going to be putting in whatever. The first one's going to be price. This is your first line of code. Very simple. You may already know it. It's equals. You type in Google Finance, ticker symbol. What you're going to do is you're going to select this cell, hit comma, attribute, we're going to do quotation marks, price, close quotation, close parentheses, hit enter. It's going to be NA because obviously we don't have a stock in here. So let's put a stock in. We'll put in, how about PayPal? We'll make it the same as the other one to make sure everything's lining up. And so far it's looking good, right? We have the same price. Now for aesthetics, we'll add the $sign and we will make this centered. We'll also make this one centered. All right, we are on our way. So next one is company name. Again, it's Google Finance, very easy. So equals Google Finance. We're going to select the ticker symbol, cell, hit comma. Attribute is going to be name. Not kidding. Here's how easy it is. There we go. PayPal Holdings. Next one is market cap, another super easy one. The hard ones are coming later. Google Finance, yet again, ticker symbol, exact same thing. You click on the cell that you have your ticker symbol in. We hit comma, and then you could probably take a guess. Market cap. So market cap, close, enter. There we go. Again, I want to make it aesthetically pleasing, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to move the decimals over so we don't have those zeros. There we go. $216 billion for our market cap. Earnings. Now we start to get into the hard stuff. Where is earnings come from? We are not pulling it from Google Finance. Google Finance is a little limited when it comes to that. So we're going to have to pull from Finviz. So if you open up Finviz, type in the stock. So we're using PayPal. We're going to hit enter. And we're going to be using this table down here. Right now, what we want to do is we want to pull, where is it? Right here, earnings, November 2nd, after market close. So how do we get this and put it into Google Sheets? Well, what we're going to be using is an import HTML. We're going to cheat and just look at the code right here to make life easier. Whoops. All right. So for starters, forget about substitute. We're not going to use that quite yet, and you will see why. First, we just want to highlight that. Well, we'll highlight it all. I'll delete the substitute, and you'll see why in a second, and why you're going to want it. So it's a little workaround that I learned. So if we get rid of substitute, okay, so get rid of all of that. And if we get rid of this stuff here, if we hit enter, see how it has the asterisks around it? I don't like that. So nice little workaround is if you add that substitute, and then the pretty much what this is saying is we're substituting the star or asterisk, whatever you want to call it, for a blank cell. So this is just quotation, star, quotation, comma, quotation, quotation, close parentheses, close parentheses. So it's right here. You could copy this down. I know people don't like the whole copy and paste notion. So let me kind of explain it really quick. So we already explained the substitute. We get that. But what you're doing here is equals index import HTML. So what that is we're pulling from a website. Which website? Well, we're going to type in open parentheses finviz.com quote ASHX. If we go here it is. This is what we're pulling. finviz.com/quote.ashx question mark T equals, but we're not putting in PayPal because it's going to be dynamic and we're going to want to change it. So we hit equals quotations N, and then we choose the cell here. We don't want to pull from this cell. We actually want to pull from that cell. So that's what I'm going to have to change. So I want F2. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to change that B to an F. Okay. And then you're going to want to do comma, open parentheses, table, close parentheses, comma. Now what's this 9, 11, and 6? This is the important part here. Really concentrate and focus on the 9, 11, and 6. So when you go here, if you double click on whatever you want, say we want this, right? And if we right click and go to inspect and this opens up, don't get scared by this, right? Pretty much we are pulling from table 9 on all of this. You could see here's table right here, right? So we're pulling from this table, which just so happens to be table 9 on the website. So we're pulling from table 9, and then the 11 and 6 represent rows and columns. So 11 and 6. So if we go back, here's what we could see. So if we go down 11, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we go over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's pulling what we want, November 2nd, after market close. So what happens if we were to go, how about over 7? It would pull payout. So instead, instead of having the aftermarket close, so if we change this 6 to a 7, it should say payout. There it is, payout, because it just pulled that next cell over. So the reason why I'm showing you that is, here's your criteria. Pull from anything here. I'm using, what am I using? We got price to book, your current ratio, your not long-term debt, your regular debt to equity, but maybe you want to see something else. Maybe you want price to free cash flow. Maybe you want your 52-week high or low in there, whatever kind of method you're using, whatever you want your criteria to be. Here's a bunch of data that you could pull from. I get it's not everything, but it's a great start. So let's Control Z. We go back to that. We're going to highlight this. We're going to make it all centered. And I want it all the same text. So default 10. All right, good. So now we're going to move on to PE. So you already know how to do it now. We're just going to click over here. So again, you know what the substitute is, the index import HTML, Finviz again. Instead of B2, we're going to be using F2, okay? Table 914. Okay, so if we go back to here, if we go to stay on 1, but then go 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go. There's our PE. So that's what we're pulling. So I'm not going to do the times 1 yet. You'll see what that is. That's going to be the next thing. That's also very important for this. We're going to highlight all of this, hit Control Copy. I'm going to paste it in here. Great. We have an error for whatever reason. Let's try to fix that. Why do we have an error? That's why. Yep, there we go. Okay. So let me just change this to F because that's the cell we're pulling from. There we go. We're going to center this. All right, and let me just change this default 10. There we go. Okay, so why do I have that times 1? Why am I multiplying this by 1? Well, because right now this technically isn't a number. I know it's a number to us, but to the computer, it's reading it as a variable. And because of that, we won't be able to get it to interact as a number. Instead, it's going to be interacting as more of a letter. If people who don't understand coding, that's pretty much what it is. It's the difference between having numbers and letters. And right now, this isn't being read as a number. It's actually being read as a word. So the workaround is if you open your parentheses here and then close parentheses there, hit times 1, hit enter. Now it's a number, and it just makes it a lot easier down the road for codes. Okay, so what we could actually do, you can see right here, current ratio. All of this is just me changing what tables I want to pull from. So you're not going to watch me for the next 6 minutes put this all in. We'll just skip that. Just figure out what you want your criteria to be. It could be my criteria or it could be your own. Or at least we'll get to the whole criteria part, but just which types of ratios or numbers you want to be looking at. So mine's PE, current ratio, RSI, debt to equity, and price to book. Make yours whatever you want, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that we have all of that, make sure all of them have that times 1 as well. So these are my 5 criteria. You're not limited to just 5. If you want to add more, by all means, you can have as much criteria as you want. You might just be in front of your computer for a while. So now the next thing is, how do we get it where we could test it right now. So we have PayPal. Let's type in Apple, and you can see everything changes here. So we know that works great. But how do we get this, the trade signal? How do we get it to say hold or buy or sell? Because if we go over here, Apple, see how it says sell? The colors are different as well. Well, what we got to do is we got to create our criteria first. So you could see right here, let's open this up. I have some criteria here. We're using if statements. So we're going to do the same thing over here, but pretty much what you could see is PE ratio, right? 35. Why is it red? Well, if we go over here, I'm saying equals if B7. So this is B7. So if this cell right here, see that it's highlighted? If B7 is less than 10, then we want it to return the value 1. If it's not, we want it to return the value 0. Okay, so that's pretty much what that's saying. Again, it's coding language, kind of. I'm not going to get too involved in that because that's not what this channel is about. But it returns a 0 because this is over 10. So if we find something that's under 10, like Intel right now, Intel is an 8. So it returns a 1 because it's less than 10. So that's what we want to do, or at least for my criteria. Maybe you want a PE ratio that's less than 15, or maybe you're not even using PE ratio. But that's what we want to do. You want to fit your criteria or your parameters. So again, it's really simple formula, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, equals, if, open parentheses, that cell, right? This cell, so for me it's F7, is less than 10, comma 1. That means return the value 1. If not, return the value 0. Then hit enter. It's a 0 because 35 is higher than 10. And just to check to make sure it works, let's type in Intel. There you go, 1. So it works. So the next thing is current ratio. So what do I have my current ratio set as? I have my current ratio set as if it's greater than 1, return 1. If it's less than 1, return 0. I'll kind of skip forward. You don't have to see me retyping everything in, but I'm just going to show you what I have here. So for my RSI, we have if it's less than 50, return 1. If it's greater than 50, return 0. My debt to equity, if it's less than 1, return 1. Greater than 1, return 0. And then my price to book, if it's less than 3, return 1. If it's more than 3, return 0. A lot of people would agree. You want a price to book below 3. You want a debt to equity below 1. You want a current ratio above 1. And you want a PE below 10. That's kind of the standard. That's what people like to look for. RSI, I just kind of put right in the middle. Is the relative strength kind of on the lower end or the higher end? And just to add a fifth criteria. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste those into here. So it's with this one. And then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now that we have all of that, last thing we need to do, and then we can move on to how to get your trade signal. We're going to want to hit equals sum, open parentheses, and then you want to highlight all of your criteria. So I have 5, right? You could have 3, you could have 15, whatever it might be. But now this will add up all of that to 5. And I'm giving it a ranking system. So Intel is a 5 right now. It's a strong buy. But if we type in Apple, Apple's only a 1 because only one of them meets my criteria. You could futz around with your criteria, make it however you want. But this is pretty much what I have. So now we can move on to this. How do we get your trade signal to change colors and change letters, words, and all of that fun stuff? So if we click on it, it's right here. We're using an ifs statement. So you could see we have ifs and we're pulling C12, right? So because C12 is the important one, that's going to be changing. C12 for us is right here, 5 right now. So it's saying if C12 equals 5, then write down strong buy. That's what's happening. It's saying strong buy. If it's 4, buy. If it's 3, hold. If it's 2, hold. If it's 1, sell. If it's 0, strong sell. So that's what I'm doing. You could have yours however you want it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be exactly like mine. Maybe you're just looking for a buy and sell. Maybe you're looking for a strong buy, an ultra strong buy, a regular buy, hold, whatever it might be. But this is what you do so you could change that sell around. So again, just to save a hell of a lot of time, I'm just going to copy and paste it. But now you know the formula. You know exactly what it is saying, what it's doing here. So you can see it right here. And we'll change the color. We'll reset the color. Well, I have conditional formatting on. We're getting to that, so that's why it's red right now. I'm going to show you how to do that. But this is the formula. This is ifs, and you understand now exactly what's going on here. You could change it to whatever you want. So a 1 is a sell. I could change this to stay away, right? It could be whatever you want. See, now it says stay away. Stay is spelt wrong. There we go. Stay away, right? Whatever you want to write it down as. But I'm just going to stick to sell to keep it simple. Make it however you want. Now that we have all of that, we could hide this. So you go down here, hide column, so it's gone. You don't need to see it. So let me hide that. And now we're pretty much set up the same as this. If we go over here, we type in Intel, it's going to say strong buy. But now you're probably wondering, well, mine's not green. How are you doing that? Well, that's conditional formatting. We're going to click on that and go to conditional formatting. And I have it all set up already because I copy and pasted it. But this is essentially what you're doing is you're going to add another rule. Like I'll delete this rule, okay? So how do we get that? Well, we're going to click add rule. And what you want to do is you want to go to format cell and we want to do text is exactly. And we're going to type in strong buy or whatever you set it as. So I'm doing strong buy. I'm going to change the color to a dark green. Whoops, this is the color I want to change. To a dark green. And then I change the text to a white. And then I bold it. And that's it. I hit done. And then what you want to do is you want to take this. And you'll put all of them in. So I got strong buy, hold, sell, all of that. And I just kind of reorder it. I kind of like it from my 5 all the way down to my 1. So if I just go into this, you can see text is exactly buy. So anytime it says buy, it will be that lighter green. It'll be this light green. Okay. And then if text is hold, it will be yellow. If text contains sell, and then if text contains, you could do if text is exactly or if text is contains, it doesn't matter. But strong sell will then be that dark red with the white lettering and bold. So that's how I have all of that for the conditional formatting. So if we X out of that, I guess the conditional formatting went away over here for whatever reason. Oh no, it's because the strong buy was deleted. Let me just add that back. So again, one more time, if you're confused how to do it, you go to text exactly or text contains. We'll do text contains on this one. Strong buy. Change that to whatever color you want it. So I want it that dark green. We change that to white. We bold it. We hit done. Bring it to the top so it's in order. And there we go. So however many criteria you have will be however many conditional formattings you'll have. So for me, it's 5. We're almost done here, guys. For the colors, let's just make this colorful really quick. All right, so now the color is exactly the same, but you can see there's still some stuff here. This is changing the colors as well. It's all green, right? So how am I doing that? How are these changing? I think it's extremely helpful because if I go and let's say Etsy had a massive drop today. That's because a vaccine was just... Pfizer said they were coming out with the vaccine, so Etsy, Shopify, and Amazon were all down a lot. But here we go. So you see how over here is green and red. For me, it's not, right? There's no green or red here. How do we change that? Well, it's conditional formatting again. So we're going to go into conditional formatting, and let's see what we have. So right here, if value is less than or equal to 10, then make it green. So I'm going to click on this, less than or equal to 10, then bold it and make the color green. And then if it is, if it is less than, so let's go back to that, conditional formatting. If it's greater than 10, make it red. So pretty much whatever I don't want it to be, it's going to be that color. And if it's what I want it to be, if it's in my criteria, then it's going to be the green. You can have whatever color you want. You could throw a yellow in there because maybe you're okay between 10 and 15 for a PE, so you want between that 10 and 15 a yellow. It could be whatever you want. You could add as much conditional formatting as possible. It doesn't matter. So just to kind of walk you through it really quick, conditional formatting, we're going to do if text is greater than 10, right? Because we don't want anything higher than 10 for a PE ratio. We don't want that color. We want to change the text to a green, make it bold. There we go. So now it's green because, oh, I'm sorry, greater than, we don't want it. Greater than is bad. We want it red. So there we go. So it's red. We're going to hit done. Now we add our second rule, and it's going to be if it's greater, not greater than, if it's less than or equal to 10, we want to change that to clear, and then this to green, and then bold and hit done. So now if we test that out, and if we go to Intel, there we go. Now it's green. So I'm not going to put in my other 4. It's the same thing. I don't want it. This video is already going to be long enough. For those of you guys that have stuck around to the end, you guys rock. You're really helping my algo. Also, please smash that like button if you made it this far. Clearly, if you've made it this far, clearly you think this video has some value or some merit for at least a like button. Very last thing is just how do I add a list? So you can have the list of whatever. I have all of the stocks I'm invested in. Hell, you could create a list of the entire S&P 500. If you want to know how to do that, you right click, you go down to data validation, you go to list of items, and then you just type in what you want. So maybe I want, how about Apple, Microsoft, PayPal, and Square. Let's pretend those are the only 4 companies. Again, I could add as much as I want, but just to save time, here it is. Here's the list now. We go to Square. Square is a sell. We go to PayPal. PayPal is a hold. Microsoft, also a hold. Apple, a sell. So there you go. That is how you make your own trade analyzer, whatever you want to call it. Again, if you guys found this video valuable, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my other stuff on the channel. I really dive into a lot of stuff on Google Sheets, trying to teach you about the market and how to master it and make more money in it. You guys rock. I'll see you guys in the next one.